Hey there, guys, and what is up? Real Diversity here, man. We are back with another video. Just like our second video of My Hero Academia. We have not been doing too many of these. We've mainly been focused on Hiro no Sora. But that's just because I think that one's just more easier to talk about. My Hero has had a lot of interesting parts, and it's just more fun to watch than come back and make a review video of. But this one definitely I should have did one on last episode where Hawks was brought into it. But we're definitely going to do one for this episode with end of our episode was called His Start, I believe. So it was really the first time since All Might retired that this was kind of the build up on it. The first time since All Might retired that they had a major attack, major villain. And this is pretty much what happened. And this was just basically going to set the groundwork for Endeavor and how everyone saw him as the new kind of symbol of hope. And so it started off, the Todoroki family, they were just pretty much talking to the mom, which was a surprising start because I just was not expecting that how the video was going to start. But it was a lead up to more stuff. But Todoroki family, they were talking to their mother, things like that. And she was like, it's not really his fault. I think he's doing it all for the right reasons. And let me say this now. For anyone, no matter how you feel about Endeavor or even Hawks for that matter, if you're, I know what happens because everyone overreacts. I know what's the most recent event that happened in the manga. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but involving Hawks. But I know that situation just because it was blown out, so it was immediately spoiled for me and probably like half of the community, anime only watchers. So I know that a lot of people had kind of disliked them recently. But this episode should have kind of given you a new perspective, and also Endeavor. A lot of people who've been anime only, if you're manga, you're probably already a fan of Endeavor. But at this point, if you've been anime only, you probably dislike the guy. And even at the start of the video, and guys, remember this at the end of the day, and no one really wants to hear this, but these are fictional characters, so don't get too attached and too emotional when when they do stuff or if something happens. Yes, the writers are so good, they make you feel emotions towards these characters that don't even exist. And it is the point of the reading the story, so you can feel some type of emotion. But just keep that in mind. Sometimes I think people get way too attached. But yeah, Endeavor, yes, up until this point of anime, most of you guys know, it was kind of a domestic violence situation with his family. And yes, it's never cool to, domestic violence is never cool or anything like that. So it's never fun to see that, hear about that. So it really, really set, and even some people may even have taken it personal from some similar in their lives. And it's never cool to see, or you never really want that to happen. So I know a lot of people just took it to heart and just really hated the guy immediately. But just remember that the writers intentionally gave these characters these backgrounds, so you will feel these emotions towards them, so that when they are redeeming themselves, that you would have, it would be even better, like, oh snap type of moment. So that's kind of what this was, and that's why a little bit early in the episode they kind of showed a little bit of that backside story, to just so you know how far Endeavor has come as a character in this story. So it's not, for you to hate the guy, it's just to show you guys that you can redeem yourself at the end of the day. So just keep that in mind, no matter what you guys think of Hawks after what just recently happened in the manga, or Endeavor. These guys are true heroes at the end of the day, and I really hope this episode really demonstrated that for everybody. These guys are risking their lives, true freaking heroes out here, ready to die for, the better cause. So just keep that in mind. So, this should really have put everyone back, set everyone straight with Hawks or whatever like that. Even though most of the manga people had already seen this fight, it should kind of just picture, oh wow, man, I forgot how good these guys, really are. These are the heroes. So true heroes in the story. So that was just my little spill on that. But yeah, excuse me. So at this point, we know what Endeavor's past, Todoroki's past. But it didn't matter. This was supposed to be Endeavor pretty much setting a new standard for himself, and trying to be the number one hero that everyone. Well, I wouldn't say everyone wants him to be, but he wants to be the number one hero that everyone needs. So I put it like that. And man, I must say he did not fail. He delivered this time around. It was a pretty brutal fight early on. This gnome was obviously special. He could talk. He could think. He knew to throw reinforcements down on the ground. So this was early. I guess I'll kind of go through a little bit. So early on, he was so the fight started. What was the first thing was kind of happening in the fight? He noticed he could regenerate. The Indavar noticed he could regenerate. That was one of the things he noticed. That he was pretty similar to all the gnomes, and he noticed that the black ones specifically were the ones that could regenerate, not the other ones, just the black ones, gnomes, and then no move. Sorry, I'm sorry if I just shorted by gnomes or no. It's no move. Is what I mean to say. Sorry, but so the black gnome moves, they're the ones that can regenerate. Similar to the one All Might had fought too, but he didn't know about that one. But yeah. So what else happened? So Indavar initially first planned. Oh, and by the way, guys, this is not scripted or anything. This is straight off the top of my head. So most of this, if I have to pause for like 3 seconds, I'm sorry. It's just me trying to think how I want to continue this narrative. So Indavar initially planned to capture that Nomu, which actually I think maybe at the end he didn't completely kill him or destroy it. I can't remember exactly, but he initially planned to capture it. Realizing in the fight that he was faster and stronger than him, he pretty much essentially was like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to just pretty much take this guy out in one go. And a lot of times he realized that he may have had more quirks than just the ones he was showing. So he was like, well, I gotta probably take you out now in one shot. And the few times he did get the opportunity, the Nomu, he was able to always avoid his head from getting detached. And that would kind of make these guys super overpowered. Is imagine just your body's just completely gone, but it can regenerate. That's one of the craziest things. So it makes these Nomu super, literally almost impossible to deal with, in my opinion. So imagine a guy like Hawks. Hawks fighting that Nomu. Hawks could do nothing to it because we know Hawks could probably cut his limbs off maybe at the right cut and stuff, but it's no way Hawks could take out that villain because he's no way he can just completely stop him from regenerating just constantly. So unless, Hawks maybe could just have sent that guy into orbit or something. But other than that, I really don't know of a way Hawks or a guy like Hawks could deal with him. So that just shows you how difficult regeneration really is. And it takes literally All Might and Indavar to just handle those guys that can do that. So, yeah, just keep that in mind as we move forward with that. Those guys are extremely powerful. So Indavar just knew he was outclassed, so he was like, I'm just have to take you out with a one shot, with you not knowing what you got, and knowing you can regenerate, it's just gonna be a problem unless I just take you out right now. But it was just really difficult for him to do that. Obviously, he thought he got him once, but he was able to throw his head or detach his head and throw it, and then he was able to get Indavar in the eye and face. So as you guys saw there, he was pretty much yeah, that's when it was like a losing slope for him after that point. And another thing was that he mentioned this while he was fighting. He said he was starting to overheat. And this one reason it was because kind of having a flashback and going into like, this is exactly the reason why he wanted to have Shoto, Shoto, I think he said his name. This is exactly why he wanted to have him, a son that could limit, he has the firepower of Indavar, but not the drawbacks of getting overheated. So it's a kind of a he wanted the best of both sides, where he has basically no limits on his quirk. Like Todoroki has Shoto has no limits on his quirks. So moving forward, we know he was just kind of had a flashback of this is exactly why I had him and I wanted him, and so he wouldn't he basically in a sense wanted the perfect hero, and I think he himself did want power, but I think ultimately at the end of the day he wanted more so a person that could be the number one hero. Rather, even if it wasn't himself, I think he didn't care. That's why I think he really built up his son, did the things he did, even though he may regret them now. I think he really did everything he did in the past to really to just have the perfect hero, rather even if he couldn't be himself. Maybe that was his ultimate thinking. Man, I can't beat All Might, but here I'm gonna have the son that can definitely be number one day or so. It's just my kind of train of thought or my take on why he did things he did, things like that. So, also another thing about that is he had a flashback. He was having flashbacks at the time, and what we saw was, he had 3 kids before Shoto, and I hope I'm saying it right, by the way. Shoto, I think I'm saying it right, but I'm sorry if I'm not. I have trouble pronouncing some of these names all the time. So if you've seen any of my other videos, I say it almost every video. I'm sorry if I mess up the names. And I did not look at his name specifically. I'm just going off of my memory. Last time I think I saw his name. So we saw a picture where he had his 3 older kids, and one of them looked potentially like Dabi. One of them had the red hair, and I always saw the red-haired kid, but I never saw it in the anime, so I never knew if it was just fan art or whatever. But this was the first time seeing a red-headed kid there before. So now that really kind of pissed my mindset into, we have yet to see that son publicly. So I'm starting to catch on. And if that's not Dabi, then that makes no sense at all. So you guys maybe can already cross it off your list if that's Dabi. Just me seeing that for the first time. That was an interesting fact right there. Now, anyways, back to that. We got also showcased his Hawk's power this episode. I think people were probably like, if you didn't watch know about the manga, Hawks was one of the only characters I was so interested in that I actually went to go. I watched videos on his powers and things like quirk before he was introduced in the anime. So he was just one of those guys that everyone loved, so much hype around him. And I was just really interested to find out what he could do. And they really showcased it this episode as well. In Inavar, they really show his firepower this episode as well, too. So Hawks was also saying that Hawks really wanted Indivar to really become the new pillar, because he felt like Hawks himself felt like he could not do it. He just felt like he didn't have the firepower, maybe. But maybe also, that's what his, I think, excuse is. But I think deep down that he probably just doesn't want to be number 1. He doesn't even want to be, I guess, number 2, But he just kind of is and has to be. But I think he really wanted to push Inavar into that spotlight, maybe to ease some of the pressure off of him himself. So I don't know, but I think that's just kind of my take on it is. Besides the fact that I think Hawks is he's a bigger fan of Inavar than he is of All Might, I believe. He even said in the episode, he said twice that he felt like he wouldn't be a good like twice in the episode that he felt like he wouldn't be a good pillar. And also he said that Inavar was the only person when he was coming up that actually tried to reach All Might. Everyone else just kind of admired All Might, but Inavar was the only one that actually attempted to pretty much surpass him. He wanted to be better than All Might. So we pretty much got to see that. So we saw a lot of different dynamics this episode. It was just one of those episodes that, this is like really one of the main reasons I think a lot of fans are watching this anime, is just simply for episodes like this that just really are filled with emotions and just a lot of action, and it's just crazy. And another thing I want to point out was just how emotional this episode was when it came down to Inavar. If you were not, they felt, or you felt, I don't know who felt, but if you weren't maybe if you didn't like slightly dislike Indavar, like maybe the first 2 minutes of the episode, and didn't root for the guy by the end of it, someone felt, whether it was you or the episode or somebody, but you should have felt a complete switch for Indavar by the end of this episode. You made that, and that's why exactly why they kind of had that little flashback early to make you like, man, I hate Indavar. He sucks. He abuses his family. And it was just kind of, they threw that in there on purpose, just so you have that, oh man, yeah, I don't even like this guy. Why is he number one? You know, maybe. And then by the end of it, it's like, you're like, oh man, you're just rooting for him by the end of it. So it's a lot that goes into it, just a lot. And so what they really did to bring that out was showing his family, right? Now they showed his family at crucial times because they really they want you to know that their family at the end of the day still loved him. It wasn't, they understood, why he did the things he did to a certain extent, but they still loved him enough where watching him get beat up, they felt emotions for it. And even earlier, the oldest son was saying that he felt like wait, what was I going at? The oldest son, he felt like, sorry guys. Oh, he felt like Indavar was a complete stranger to him. That's why I couldn't remember. He felt like he was a complete stranger to him early, and he said the early episode, and by the end of it, they're all like about to cry at him fighting the villain. So it was just a lot going into it. And also another side note is, they were it was like a news reporter that was like, she was like, oh no, run. She was like, there's no symbol of peace or anything like that. And oh, also, if I said pillar earlier, that's like my other way of saying symbol of peace. So if I said pillar earlier in this episode, it was just me saying symbol of peace. So she was like, oh, there's no symbol of peace. And this own little kid was like, no, he's still fighting, don't give up. And, pretty much like, why are you saying that if you're a news reporter on TV, you're not helping the cause. So yeah, it pretty much just provoked the kid, and he just didn't like it. Now, near the end of the episode, Hawks and Indavar, they kind of teamed up. Hawks gave him some of his wings to just give him the speed he needed to kind of catch up to the Nomu. And the Nomu, I guess, was feeling cornered and started biting on him. So it gave him the perfect opportunity to just kind of drag him where he wanted. And he took him up into the stratosphere, basically, and just kind of, torched him hard. And I knew from some screenshots of the manga that Indavar had something happen to his eye, but I didn't know it was this fight. So it was interesting to find out. And then yeah, it was just I gotta see next episode if Indavar is okay, because I really feel like he made it overheated a little bit on that fight. But yeah, did I cover everything? Yeah, by the end of it, everyone's rooting for him. Oh, and last thing at the end too with Deku, Midoriya had a dream of the first One for All user, and that was just interesting there. And I think they're gonna explore more of that. But they said that was basically the end of season 4. So that was surprising. I didn't know that was gonna be the end. So now we gotta wait for season 5, and hopefully that comes sooner rather than later. I have no clue when that is, but whenever I find out and we get a trailer or anything like that for it, I'll probably drop a video on what we can expect from it from an anime only perspective. Like if you read the manga, you already know, but for guys who just focus on anime like myself, I'll probably drop a video for you guys on that too. So like I said, if you guys enjoyed this, please leave a like and subscribe and drop a comment on what you enjoy most. And if you really enjoy it and you want to keep watching more, man, go check out my other videos. Also, like I said, subscribe and hit that notifications, and we're always posting videos. We're Diversity. We're out. Peace.